Hey, I'm back way earlier than anybody probably expected. But that's because this topic that I'm going to talk about is very, very important, and I feel like it needs to be talked about way more. And that is the general lack of empathy within just the world in general, because you all lack empathy in some state or form. And I also lack empathy.
Am I the problem?
Of course you are! Is which I'm also realizing. So when I'm talking about lacking empathy, I'm talking about not being able to understand someone else. Not being able to understand someone else's struggle, or just not giving a shit. Because I feel like a lot of people, while they understand other struggles, they don't give a shit. And I feel like it's gotten harder as time's gone on, because we're so connected, right? Everybody feels like they're all going through the same shit, so therefore everybody feels like this is normal, and that this is just the state of being. It's almost towards the point where it's like, hey, something bad happened to me. Well, something bad happened to me too, so that makes my shit worse than yours. So therefore, I don't give a fuck about what's happening with you. Now, I know this sounds very aggressive, and I know that this sounds very angry, but that's because I am very upset by this. And if I'm going to be real, the main reasoning for this video and this topic is my friend Micah. Me and him, he gave me a very, very good idea, and we talked about it. We talked about it with my other friend Mike. We all talked about it for about 2 to 3 hours, and I recorded all of it. But the worst part about it is, as soon as we got done having these amazing, these great talks, these absolute great yap sessions, in which we both learned things about each other and about ourselves, the audio didn't record. It didn't record.
You are such an idiot.
So, all of that footage just unusable, really. Besides, like, putting a little thing right, poof, poof, you know. And that's kind of annoying. That's kind of a little upsetting. But that still doesn't take away from the topic at hand. The general lack of empathy. Like I was talking about before, people feel a lack of empathy simply because everybody's going through shit. And so it makes it, when someone else is going through shit, it's a lot harder to look at their situation and go, damn, because you're so engrossed in your own situation. And if I'm being real, I agree with something Micah said. He said that it costs money to be a good person, and it does. It does. You see a homeless person on the street, you give them money, right? That costs money. You see all these charities and all this, that, and the third. To donate, it costs money. It costs money. It costs time, and it costs money. And a lot of people just cannot give that. They can't give that. You are like, everybody is too broke to be nice to each other.
I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke.
And that's just the truth. Everybody's too broke and unwilling to be nice to each other, because there's nothing you get in return for being nice, as it seems. Now, of course, there's a such thing as paying it forward. And a lot of people believe in good karma. But at the same point in time, for those who don't believe in it, they have no real reason to be nice, especially with how everything's been. And with how stingy everything's gotten. Everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to be millionaires. Everybody wants to have 6 figures. Everybody wants to do whatever the fuck that they can with their lives to become successful. There's no problem with wanting to be successful, but being successful costs money. And being successful, you need to make hard decisions that make it harder for you to show empathy. Nobody has ever made money by giving money. And it's as simple as that. And it's hard to give money, which is why I feel like there's a total lack of empathy there. Because everybody is in a financial deficit unless they are either celebrities, and or popular people just in general. And I feel like a lack of empathy shows in just every place in the world, every place. There should never be a point in time where when you see homeless people sleeping on a bench and you go, that bench needs to be more difficult to sleep on. We don't need to solve housing crises. We don't need to solve people not having jobs or being unable to afford to live correctly or being able to afford living in a nice place. No, we need to make it harder to sleep on the bench. We need to make it harder to sleep on the floor. Interesting. I find that very, very interesting. I also find it kind of interesting that one of the main things that most countries pour all of their money into is finding better ways to kill people. You would think that the nuke was fine. You would think that the nuke was enough. But no, we gotta make hydrogen bombs. We gotta make drone strikes. We gotta make all of this other shit to kill other humans, to kill other wildlife. Interesting. Yet you don't want to put any type of money into making the foster care system better. You don't want to put any more money into education, but you want to put money into killing people. Interesting. Because even if it doesn't matter what side you're on, it doesn't matter who you think is who or who's doing the worst, you're still killing people. And a lot of the time, those weapons don't go to even fighting against the people you want to fight against. They go against the children of those people that have nothing to do with it. They're used against the children of those people that have nothing to do with it. And whether you like it or not, or whether you believe you're the good guy or not, there is no such thing as a good guy and a bad guy anymore. Let's talk about it right now. America didn't insert itself into the World War until they were attacked themselves. They did not give a fuck until Pearl Harbor was bombed. We didn't give a fuck. Interesting. It's very interesting how all of a sudden, when something happens to you, it matters. Interesting. And now I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna talk about the lack of empathy again. And this, I'm not going to get too angry and too up everybody's ass. But I will say this right now. I don't give a fuck what side you're on, whether you're Republican or Democratic. The things that are going on in this world are simply just horrific. There is a total lack of empathy when it comes to people. There is a total lack of empathy when it comes to the earth itself, its environment, its animals, its everything. There is a lack of empathy when it comes to the emotional spectrum itself. You can't be sad anymore. You can't be angry anymore because it's seen as if it's a crime to showcase these emotions. You can't be empathetic because then people label you as stupid shit. You're telling me you're upset that Superman saved a squirrel? A squirrel? You're upset about that? You're upset that you see Superman saving people? A superhero? Interesting. But I feel like I'm getting off topic. And honestly, I don't give a fuck if I'm off topic or not. Because this all kind of comes back together to just empathy in general. I don't understand why people are upset that people care about these types of things and that people care about other people. I feel like as humans in general, we are naturally supposed to strive to be better, to see each other as one of one. And it's just absolutely insane to me that people can sit here and act like other people don't matter just because they don't know them. And people are afraid to get to know other people on different sides of whatever conflicts they're in because they know when they get to know them, it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder to look the other way when something bad happens. And it's as simple as that. it's going to be harder not to empathize with them. It's going to be harder. Which is why there are so many divisions in the world, so many political parties that are dividing us as people, because at the same point in time, it's no longer about, hey, who do we think is going to serve everybody at this country better? No, it's become, fuck that other side. Everybody on that other side sucks. Everybody on that other side does this. Everybody on that other side does that. And it's the same exact thing in the opposite direction.
Stop fucking crying, bitch! Where? I don't wanna fucking hear it!
At the end of the day, whoever you're voting for does not give a fuck about you. They don't. You need to give a fuck about you. You need to give a fuck about the people around you, and you need to give a fuck about the people who are unseen, because that is what empathy is. Caring.
I do.
Shut up. Get out.
It's caring. And if people care more, then things will be a lot more likely to become better, simply due to caring. And I used to believe that this was possible. I still believe it's possible. But as time goes on, it just starts to seem more like it's never going to happen. And I hate to be a pessimist about it, but it's just as simple as that. People hate each other. There is a general lack of empathy, and it only continues to grow the more we're in contact with each other, which is the craziest thing, because you would believe that us being in contact with each other would change things for the better, but it hasn't. It hasn't. Hopefully it will at some point. I mean, good things usually turn out to good.
What the f does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
You're welcome.
After a long time, but it hasn't for a long time. But I'll end it saying this. Everyone is human. Everybody's gonna make mistakes. Everybody may not look the same as you, but they can definitely feel the same things that you're feeling. They're going to probably react in the same way you would in certain situations, despite them being different. So please don't forget that. Everybody is a different version of you, just under different circumstances. You're all human. And it's better to understand each other and to try, not do, but at least try to empathize with each other before we start acting like absolute dickheads and hypocrites